One is it's excessively high at 128% of GDP, which is called the public debt. It includes the central government debt, it includes the guaranteed debt of state-owned enterprises, and it includes the debt of the central bank. There is no specific red line, but we should generally, a middle-income market access country like us, should have a debt to GDP lower than somewhere in the range 60 to 70% or lower than that. So we were carrying a large amount of debt coming into this. It is estimated that this year the interest burden was going to be close to 2 trillion. Now you can assume that our GDP is about 25 trillion, which works out to about 8% of GDP, which is an excessively high amount of interest to GDP. The third factor is because of the crisis, we started issuing more and more of our domestic securities in shorter dated securities. So there is the concept of gross financing needs, which is that whatever your deficit at what is called the primary deficit, revenue minus expenditure without interest, plus what you have to roll over, and the rollover challenge became higher and higher because we started issuing more and more short-term securities. My estimate is on the domestic debt, it was about average term to maturity of 3 years, that you had a very, very high gross financing requirement, partly to fund a very large primary balance deficit, which was estimated to about 3.7% of GDP. And you had to pay for the amortization, which last year was estimated, the GFN at something like 33, was about 28%. It is estimated that the GFN was going to go up to 37. And in the absence of any kind of restructuring, even if you were able to wait till inflation subsided, which is happening, the path at which the gross financing needs was going to reduce was still going to be significantly higher than the level that the IMF had set for us at 19%. So the IMF set 3 to 4 parameters on our debt because their evaluation said before they gave us the funds that your debt is not sustainable. So they told us very clearly that you will have to restructure your debt. They said you'll have to restructure your external debt, and there is a gap which probably will require the domestic debt also to be restructured. So in the external debt, they have said that you have to restrict it to 4.5% of GDP, the debt servicing. And they also said that there is a financing gap of $17 billion, and you will have to get some debt relief to pay for that $17 billion, which means that there will have to be some kind of interest and principal write-down. In the domestic debt, there required to be what is called reprofiling, which means that not necessarily you have to cut the principal amounts, but you have to extend the maturity and reduce some of the coupons. So in the absence of any kind of restructuring, the trajectory was that our gross financing needs was going to be about 19% if we didn't do anything.